My name is Loïc. I'm a game producer by day, and I'm an NFT artist by night. And today I'm going to be talking about the power of derivative art for NFTs. So, in a nutshell, I think today that derivative art is probably one of the most underrated things that someone who is in Web3 can do. If you're a content creator, if you're an artist, if you are even just a holder, it's something that is so underrated, and yet it has created massive results for a lot of people. And I hope that after this press, you'll be convinced to have a look. So before getting into it, just wanted to give like this Wikipedia type of definition. So a derivative work is an expressive creation that includes major copyrightable elements of an original, previously created first work. So like kind of like this designer toy thing on the right there, made by Cause of Star Wars. It's basically anything that you can create, whether it's audio, video, or text, or physical, whatever you can think of, that is derived for something that already exists, an IP that already exists. Now, if you try to do anything with Star Wars or with Disney, good luck, because odds are the lawyers will come to you and you'll be in a lot of trouble. But in Web3, there are a bunch of new brands and IPs and opportunities to create tremendously successful content. Now, why derivative art and why am I so pumped up about it? For two main reasons. And community, which is like kind of like the buzzword in Web3, we'll all say, oh, community, beautiful, Wagami, all this stuff. But also IP development. I'll come back to IP development in a second, but community first, because basically what this space has created is a bunch of like super passionate people about JPEGs. In a nutshell, a lot of the communities that you see, it's people who are really passionate, become friends, go on Discord, go on Twitter. But at the end of the day, it's a bunch of super fans that love their PFP or love their NFT collection. And whenever you're trying to build something, if you have those evangelists, those super champions, those, and in this case, like the degen sort of, they're going to be the ones who will carry all this momentum for you, and it's a very powerful force. So I'll go into community first, but IP development is probably even more powerful in Web3, and I'll get back to that in a second. So to give you a bit of an example of how powerful it can be, in September of 2021, there was there's going to be a lot of doodle stuff because I love doodles. They kind of like me as well. I've done a lot of doodle stuff, work for doodles. So September 2021 was the mint of doodles. I missed it. I was super bummed. I felt like I knew it was going to be good, but I couldn't get on the list. So pissed as I was, I created my own doodle, my own version of a doodle. So the thing on the left there is an NFT that I hold. I was supposed to have the rights to. I created my own doodle version of it. And that piece in the middle there became viral on Twitter. So a lot of people, a lot of people contacted me to have their version of their NFT. A lot of different collections said, "Hey, could you do Could you do one for me? Could you do one for our collection?" And it turned into this sort of massive thing, which came from me just being pissed at not being able to mint an NFT. And I created like around 65 pieces, and I do these one at a time. 65 pieces, 30 IPs, different brands, NFT brands, but other different things as well. And even two collections. One was basically all of those NFTs put together, all of these images put together. And the second one was a completely different thing where I took a base doodleified thing and I crossed it with Fidenza, which is a kind of like a generative abstract type of a very cool art thing. And you can see on the left there a bunch of my personal favorites. So the Fidenza in the top right there. Just disclaimer, it got taken down because it was too close to the original thing. But a bunch of collections in this thing allowed me to reach a very wide array of people when initially it was just doodles and Oniforce. I ended up talking to so many different people and created a lot of cool content. And on the right, This is a little piece that I made for NFT London, where I asked doodle holders if they wanted to be a part of a fun little art piece. So again, I contacted those different communities and then cross-pollinated the communities to create a piece of art that goes beyond just the JPEG that you have at the beginning. All of these people on the right were really happy with it. Tons of like collections kind of retweeted the thing, uh, some of them at least. And at the end of the day, it's a way for you to connect to these people and give some value beyond just their JPEG. Now, the cool thing as well is that little context on this. So on the left here, Dorolo is my doodle. I eventually, thanks to all the people that uh, wanted one of my remixes, I managed to buy one, and I decided to expand on this brand or on this NFT. So I started experimenting with different styles, and each time I was sharing one of the like a version of this derivative, like a derivative version of this doodle, people loved it. The doodles community loved it. They wanted a version for themselves. They wanted to know what was coming next. They kind of followed my journey into exploring like Dololo stuff. So the bottom right one in particular, this yoga type of meditation version, lots of people wanted it because you only see the face of most of the PFPs and the collections. So when you see the body, it's like, oh, my character is actually a real person. It's not just not a head. So it is something that you can do because you're supposed to have the rights to it, and it's not legal advice, but it's time for people to just explore and just go beyond just this JPEG of their little characters. It's a little bit like if you walk around Leicester Square and you see like people doing caricatures of um, in the street. You kind of want to do the same for your siblings or for your kids or for your mother or whoever. It's like a cool thing that you can do for people that you love. And in the space, that's our JPEGs. And then you can go even further and create an entire world around those NFTs. This is a piece that same thing got a lot of cool attention in the Doodles community. All of these characters are holders, and I asked them, what if your character had a superpower? Let's let's go wild, and what would it be? Someone said rainbow puke. Another person said laser eyes. I want to fly. I want to have like invincibility. So I created this thing where all of these characters are part of this world, and all the holders who are super fans as well of Doodles kind of carried the momentum on this piece, um, and it went beyond just the six of them in there. So it's something that you can do with the NFT that you hold, and it can really um, go beyond just that JPEG that you initially hold. Now, the second part is the IP development. This Jenkins the Valet, some of you may know this Bored Ape. It's probably one of the most recognizable Bored Apes in the space, but it doesn't exist. It's a completely virtual character, and it's a team that's taking care of it. Now, there's a lot of people who have a PFP of their Bored Apes, of their doodles, but they're they're real people. This guy doesn't exist. Jenkins the Valet is a completely made-up character that looks like kind of like a valet, but it has an access pass. It has a book written by a New York Times bestseller. It has a battery of people who are ready to buy whatever he sells, and that is just because an entire narrative was built around the character beyond just the JPEG. And it's something that anyone can do. You could pick up any NFT tomorrow that is relatively known or has a good following of like super fans, and you could build a Jenkins the Valet tomorrow. Not enough people do it. There's a lot of space for that. And it doesn't even have to be something that you do permanently. If you're an artist in the Web3 space or in the Web2 space, or just curious about getting your foot into the door or getting to your foot into those communities, this is an example of 4 artists that I absolutely love and that decided to have a look at have take a spin on Pepe the Frog, which I'm not really familiar, but I know it's like a popular thing on the internet, especially now in Web3. All of these are different styles, have nothing in common except Pepe the Frog, and all of those posts had tremendous engagement because now, again, all of the Pepe the Frog fans were like, "Oh, you're doing this thing for us. It's so cool and it's looking so great." And if you're a Web2 artist trying to get into the space, rather than creating your own collection from scratch and saying, "Buy my stuff," if you do something like this, suddenly you're speaking the language of the people you're trying to sell to. Suddenly they feel like, wow, they tried, and it's cool. I like this stuff. I like seeing Pepe the Frog like this. So anyone can do this. You can be an artist, you can be a collector, you can be a brand. It doesn't really matter who you are, as long as you try to capitalize on this NFT that you hold. So to finish the talk, this little story on the left here, this thing on the left. So this is a very exclusive ledger that you could only buy at VCon, conference for VFriends that happened in May. Limited edition, you had to be part of a raffle to even win. I made the art for this. But it was never meant to be for ledger. I made this just for fun the day the conference was announced in September 2021, I think, yeah, something like that. I made this for fun, as a derivative art of what would be VCon. 8 months later, it became the official design of this unique collaboration with the two brands. So you can really, I'm not an artist, I've never done this before, and yet you can bring something from scratch and in this space really take it far. So if you're an artist, a brand, a game developer, and if you hold a message me if you're interested to know more, and I hope that you start looking to derivative art from now on. Thank you.